Hi guys, it's Alan. Targ Individual. Sorry for my hair, it's a little get my hat on. Anyway, again, Targ Individual. Havana Syndrome. They can call it whatever. I guess technically there's a move to try to anonymous or analogous non-kinetic brain injury, if they want to call it that way, because that's how the FBI, CIA were hit with these directed energy weapons. And the best way to understand directed energy weapons, and it's pretty simple, but it's like when you think of a missile or a bullet, these are concrete things, like a bullet. You can hold it. And energy is like a laser with, electrons and, just it's directing an energy. Directed energy weapons, taking energy, electricity even, and directing it at computers, at an airplane, at ships, at computers, or directing it at your heart as a person. And that's where smaller types of do's, soft kills. A guy named Philip Nielsen wrote a book on direct energy weapons, and he talks about soft kills and microwave. I didn't order the book, so I didn't read it, but I just looked at the table of contents, and it shows how they use microwaves to direct that energy, whether it's V2K. I'm not sure if that's the part of it, but it's directing energy like a laser to hit land, cars, tanks, or in people during they have so much time and money that they literally try everything with a mad scientist mind can think of to see what works. And often they don't get an okay, certainly not informed consent when they do this to children or babies or even adults. But hospitals want that grant money. Doctors and scientists want that grant money. So they toss their ethics, the Hippocratic Oath, they toss it out the window. And I literally went 30 years not knowing what it was. I'll get my... In some of these, I got receipts from my OxyContin that started in 99, 2000. Now I was very thankful, still am, that I had something for it, but it's just, at the end, you just know you're thankful that you have something for pain. And when you go 30 years not knowing, hoping to find out what it is and they'll fix it, and then you go to the rally in Portland, the Yellow Free Rally, and you realize that they've been hiding this for years. They could have fixed it for years because you didn't need fixing. They introduced something in your body that didn't need to be put there. It was an experiment, like MK Ultra. And we already know that our government does this. They tried to hide it by burning the papers, but then 7 boxes got found. The CIA was doing these experiments from the 50s and 60s and 70s. They tried to burn these boxes, but then 7 boxes of paperwork got found, and then they had the church committee. And then in 95, Bill Clinton admitted that this was happening. And you would think there'd be more. Did people get in trouble? Did people go to prison for torturing people? Not just, even Canadians going to Canada and torturing them at McGill University at the Allen Institute. I didn't make it. My name's Alan, but I didn't. And to actually go along with that, what they do through V2K, if you haven't heard of it, sounds nutty. It sounds like, oh, they're hearing voices, but it's just a technology. Like Elon Musk has something now called telepathy, where he literally says he put a chip inside somebody's head, a handicapped person, so that they can communicate for the first time. It's mind reading, it's brain mapping, able to read that person's mind so they can communicate. Now, when it's done in this way, it's wonderful to be able to help these people talk and communicate. But when the Department of Defense or whoever takes that same technology and uses it as a weapon, which is what they did to me, even though I had no criminal history. I was 14 years old. DARPA. And you just hope, like the vaccine, I know Rand Paul a few months ago came out and said that a fellow from DARPA came out, was a whistleblower, and said this, that a person came out, and 15 federal agencies were approached for this COVID in 2018. But he knew it was not DARPA. He knew that. So, but they don't name the other 13 agencies. He just points the finger again at Fauci, NIH, and the NIAID. But he knows, because he worked at DARPA, that it wasn't DARPA. He found the paperwork showing it. It was these other 15 or 13. But he doesn't name the other 13. It just knows it wasn't his organization. It's like, I'm amazed at the lack of questioning. And when you are a TI, I remember trying to warn people in the streets of, City Hall in Dallas, and spray painting, using chalk, I think it was, warning them that our government was targeting people. But at the same time, you don't know, after I went to that rally, what our government was doing. I knew what they did to me. But you're not going to try to tell people not to take a vaccine if you don't know that might actually save their life. So there's some people that say that it's in the vaccine, the same stuff. They're going to try to all at once, do it at once. But they also, a lot of these rallies were saying that there could be hundreds of thousands of people and, target individuals, but they didn't know it. But I've noticed that in the last few years since the COVID and that there hasn't been this huge, massive increase in numbers of people going to these meetings. There's been a decrease of people going to these chat rooms, a huge decrease of people going to them. I mean, in some cases, you're lucky to get 50 or maybe 100. But other times, you're lucky if you get 4 to 10 people. So in some, that's overtaking the world in hundreds of thousands. And even then, you can't even trust the numbers on these, because you can be on these chats that have 100 people, but you'll only hear within an hour and a half or 2 hour chat, you might hear 6 people or maybe 9 or 10, and they'll speak for 10 minutes. But it's not like a hurry up, let's get a bunch of people on and talk. So it's hard to know. It's like the Unabomber. When he was experimented on in Harvard, before he became the Unabomber, the Kaczynski, there was, you read up, he hated technology after what they did. They fried his brain with drugs, made him freaked out as a young, whatever he was, 15 or 16, to test him, to break his will, his sense of self, even then. And then Then you find out there was only 22. They did this on 22 of the people. And one of those people was Ted Kaczynski. He was 16 at Harvard. And he was trying to warn people about civilization using technology to destroy people. And we see the tendency now where people are not, they're quick to give away their rights. The technology that they torture me with, the DEWs to the chest, its main purpose is to cause pain to the chest, chronic ELF, low frequency electronic, just a constant, bzz, just a feeling like you can't reach your emotions. Your emotions are there. You can kind of know that they're their experience, but when you try to pray, meditate, there's like a radius in your chest, your left side, that blocks your ability to feel your emotions, like they're trapped. And it's not just psychologically, it's like literally, and you don't know how or what puts it that way. But then after 30 years and you found out about Havana Syndrome, you're getting hit in the side for years, but there wasn't a name for it. The doctors weren't really, you found out later, they really weren't trying to help you. It's just through V2K, you realize people are, it's like they're playing a weird game on you and you don't know what it is or why they're doing it. It's because you've been in it for too long, and the word's getting out, and some of the senators and the directed energy caucus or directed energy professional society, I don't know if they're getting embarrassed or feeling pressure. I've never done anything to hurt or put pressure on anybody. I just kept living and hoping that my emotions that they'll stop doing what they're doing. And it's because of those times, like 12 times where they've turned it off and you could feel it in your heart or your side, like goes like this. And instantly you could feel your emotions, the muscles feel relaxed, and you can feel your emotions just flood right back within a second. And that's what makes you realize you're still there. You're still 100% there. And I don't know if they want to do this to people 24/7, but this electric biometric thing, to reduce the sense of self, your emotions, your emotions, your sense of self. It's to cause depression in the hopes that the person will off themselves. And they feel so little. It doesn't matter how good you were. They just think you're something to play with, like a cat's toy. No human rights. They can look at how I've lived my life. I was ethical. I was kind. And the little town where I came from, these are what I thought were good people chanting "Drain the swamp," And it's just weird that they would do that. To find out that that's what happened all these years, and not one of them, any of them, had the guts or the honesty of character to tell you. Not doctors, not police. People are liked. Though they were chanting "Drain the swamp" for a few years, but now they know that I know. I went to the rally, and you just want them to. You just want them to stop doing it.
I think we make sure we're very clear that we all want that safety, speaking out is a key right in our country and one that I support. And so is protesting, but protesting in a safe way is the president's about.
That's it. You just want them to stop doing it. You just want them to stop and to turn off the thing and get your emotions back. Now that I know, the Electronic Revolution Federal Targeted Individual Program. Controlling the Human Mind, the Technologies of Political Control by Dr. Nick Begich. This is a good one too. The Invisible Crime, Part 2. Targeted individuals, synthetic telepathy, and global criminal biomedical human experimentation. Couldn't put it perfectly. That's exactly what it is. He talks about V2K, but I don't think he actually has it. He knows that it's there, and it's literally the gang stalking, the whole bit. Gang stalking and mind control. I don't know if it's mind control. Anthony Forwood, AK Forwood. The destruction of society through community spying networks. I don't know if it's mind control, but it's emotional control, because it cuts down on your ability to access your own emotions by putting this electronic current constant to your side to where you can't feel. It's like there's a radius right here where like your muscle kind of tenses up, ELF, and your ability to get to that area and feel your normal primary emotions, whether joy, sadness, anger, just you can feel it to some degree, something really good, something really bad, a little bit, but it's more up here. And you can a little bit. It wasn't until they turned it off and I could feel, it's like it all come back instantly, like, and you can imagine just like, or somebody flipping a switch, and within 2 seconds. And that's what makes you realize you're still there. And it's to control your emotions. And because you're in pain, and it feels like something's pulling down here, and that creates a sad feeling, a depression. And it's a crime because it's a pain that's pulling, and it creates kind of a sad, like a depression. And to go there, and it's like, this cannot be normal. This is not normal. This can't be. And I stayed around because I knew that, I kept praying. It's like, show me what it is. Tell me what it is. Fix it, just, every day for 30 years, hoping that maybe in the next life God would tell me, but he didn't. He allowed me after 30 years. Around the age of 45, they started with this gang stalking and people at the V2K and voice to skull. First, it's anyway, and then it later became telepathy, synthetic artificial telepathy. And because what they're doing is, I think they have a timeline to introduce directed energy weapons. I know Dr. Robert Duncan said in his book, Project Soulcatcher, I think it's page 282, that the Air Force wanted to make public this directed energy weapon stuff. So how do you make it public when people kind of already know? Well, the way they're trying to introduce it is Havana Syndrome. Blame Cuba, blame China, blame Russia. Well, shit, we've been experimenting on our own citizens. How do we do this? Well, let's start this movement. Let's get let's get them out there sounding like lunatics and chanting, marching, whatever, and get them out there and make them sound nuts. So then we can deal with it. Who knows because I went to the Ella Free rally in Portland. That same group, Freedom for Targeted Individuals, Dr. Matt Arnegard or Matthew Aaron, Ella. They also had Ikator in Brussels, Belgium, allegedly. I don't know. Freedom from covert harassment, different names, and now it's PAX International. Targeted Justice, these different groups that seem to really have a shelf life. Most of these starting in 2015 or 2016. There's a couple that are still Targeted Justice, PAX. Ikator claimed, they had a great thing a year ago, outdoor meeting and speaking against what they're going through. But then after this great rally speaking against Havana Syndrome and Target Indiv being a guinea pig, there hasn't been anything almost a year except Melanie getting up to, oh, we're going through a lawsuit, and a year of this. And a lot of them kind of work within each other's different organizations. Like they'll split time and in this place and in that organization and that group. But I'm a person, I know this is real. I mean, I do. I was so thankful for 30 years of not knowing to finally know. But I also know a lot of the people that were claiming to be TIs were people just going through something that, they weren't going through V2K. They weren't going through, well, some programs only have V2K, some have directed energy weapons, but I noticed that these chat groups, trust me, when this is happening to you, the one thing you're holding on to is meeting with other people who are going through it. And the idea that these people would suddenly just stop going to meetings, which is the lifeblood, it's how, the weirdest thing you've ever gone through, and you want that support. And then suddenly just not care about doing it anymore. V2K and getting hit with these direct energy weapons, your lifeblood is, even if you don't talk a lot in the meetings, to be around and hear other people, to be around them. It's a lifeblood, the idea. So I'm just thankful that for the ones that are still doing it. Even no matter how difficult and to find people, I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm glad they're still helping us. PAX, Targeted Justice. We know it's kind of like a mosque in that sense. Not a mosque, but it's like when people go to a mosque, I'm sure Muslims, they know that the feds will infiltrate them because they were always put on the shit list and there'll be some teenager that gets their anger over a broken girlfriend or mistreated, and the feds will push Muslims to act out. And then hoping that the Muslim will do something bad, like the Christmas tree bombing in Portland, and then say, hey, see, we stopped this Christmas tree bombing, even though it's like the kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer. It was the feds that actually did all this, trying to 3 or 4 or 5 feds in order to set up 3 people so that the newspaper can say, look, at the feds stopped this kidnapping or stopped this bomb. And it was the feds that started the whole thing so that they can justify their existence, It's like Jason, the scientific group, the best of the best in science, coming away from all this Havana Syndrome, saying ultimately it's crickets. Everybody in that world knows this technology exists. And they want to still seem like, oh, we're important. You need us. We'll do whatever you say. Crickets, they already know this technology exists. So they're not fooling anybody. Maybe the newspapers who don't do any research, but the thing is, in Rumsfeld was asked by a reporter, do you want to talk about these directed energy weapons? This is like 2000. And he asked one of the colonels, it's like, well, we don't want to talk too much about it yet. We're the implementation plan. No, they've been in it for years. It's kind of like this telepathy from Elon Musk. It's like it's in its first person now. The first chip in the brain. It's like, no, they've been using this for years on people to see how it works, to see if they can turn it into a weapon. And let's hope that they can do something to stop this. Because my thing is not to get rich. I don't care about getting rich, and I just want them to stop it. If I was to win anything, I would instantly want to give this money to help homeless people or other people that are being experimented on. I don't care about living the high life. it's just, I've seen what people do, and the idea of trying to sue people. I mean, I understand and I deserve it, and other people go through this nightmare deserves to get compensated. But I don't want to put anything in the way from them helping me and helping other people from just being honest and say, yeah, we're doing this. Sorry, we'll help stop it so you don't have to go through any more suffering. I don't care about the money. I just want them to stop it. And I don't want other people to go through it either. Because if I'm waiting for money or lawyers or this and that, it just gives them more time to do this. And I want my emotions and all that back. I want to have them take that biometric extremely low frequency biometric out and quit being treated as less than human. And it's unfortunate. It's a very religious community, very evangelical. I thought very good people. I wouldn't have believed it. I would not have believed the people of my town, who literally I thought well of. I just knew I was for over 30 years in pain, and I didn't know what it was for all those years. It was just knowing now. And through books like this, MK Ultra, and experimenting on people in the past, and Bill Clinton admitting it in 95 and apologizing, and having all the patents for this, nervous system manipulation, behavior modification, telepathy, artificial telepathy. These are the patents to the technology right here. MK Ultra and mind-controlled technology, a compilation of patents and reports by Axel Balthauser. And that's how little they think of us. You could be the nicest person in the world, and instead of being thankful or that's a good person, they try to minimize you even more by treating you as less than human. Even if they see through EEG how you've lived your life or through your memories or whatever, they try to belittle you even more, maybe to download and so they can give it that personality to other people. Who knows? I'm a free will person. It's pretty obvious people do have it it's just duh. It's common sense. But it doesn't fit within a materialistic system, whether it's computers or it's not that, they can make a hardware or a medicine that makes it stronger to override a person's free will. There's no doubt, like, that can give you, make you flinch. But people do have free will. So, soul, spirit, literally ghost in the machine. But how it interacts with the brain and nervous system, that's still mysterious. So they try to reduce it to nothing but matter. But then you're at the same place. It's like, well, it's just cause and effect determinism, or even throw indeterminism in quantum physics. That's still a phantom without a cause. Give them everything they want. A phantom, no cause, that's just a jerking phantom. That's not free will. That's not a rational choice. Or just saying, well, the strongest character. That's just a softer way of putting determinism in. We have the experience from people who lie and cheat, and they know they can make choices and not have to lie, not have to do this or that, or can stop in the middle of something and change their mind and all this stuff. So we as humans are not machines. We do have free will. But it's weird, within the last 20 years, two of the leading atheists, the new atheists, read a couple of books against free will, Sam Harris and Daniel Dennett, I think. Bertrand Russell had written a book like that 40, 50, 60 years ago. Why I'm Not a Christian. That's why he wrote it. And he said he didn't believe in free will. But, it's because it doesn't fit within, but it's always free will has been the biggest mantra within the humanistic society. Freedom from religion foundation, free inquiry. Um, everything was about freedom from religion foundation, free inquiry, free thought. But now they're trying to do away with the very thing that I always thought words like determinism or destiny had almost a mystical quality, not a rational one. But there could be, some destiny and God and spirits, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm going off on a theological. That people have free will, we can make choices. It's just common sense. Those same people who say we don't have free will, 5 minutes later, will get mad at their son, their daughter, their spouse for something they did, as if they could have changed their actions. It's like, well, I get mad at somebody for doing something it's because I got mad because I had no choice in it. It's like, again, they don't believe it either. They're just trying to be loyal to their beliefs, almost like a Calvinist, like a superlapsarian Calvinist is trying to be loyal to, Anyway, I go off on tangents. Hypnosis. Anyway, it says mental monitoring. That's like remote neural monitoring. Implants and nanotechnology. Again, implants and nanotechnology. And it's got the patents. Again, if you want to look it up, it's right there. I got it off Amazon. A lot of them I did. My ebooks, Targ individual books, but the way when you're in it from 2016, 17, 18, they're making it sound like it's going to be, but now, when you're part of this soft kill and then you find out your people in your hometown were trying to profit off of torture and trying to kill you or get you to off yourself, but then they're chanting drain the swamp, it makes you look at him like, oh, drain the swamp. You guys got money for 30 years and made me pay for a pain treatment, and because I broke my arm, and I find out you guys put something in there and didn't tell me, and I had to spend all that time in pain. Thankfully, I got pain meds, but it's like I shouldn't have been in pain in the first place. I shouldn't have been used as a guinea pig at my worst day ever for breaking my arm, being under anesthesia, and you guys see the opportunity of a lifetime to take a nobody, a 14-year-old nobody who wasn't part of your family. I wasn't part of their family, so why should I have a life? I was studying for the ministry, but why should I have a life? Why should I, they didn't care about my rights. They didn't care about the Constitution when it came to me. They care about it when it comes to them. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to have their rights taken, but they're more than happy to do it to me and to belittle me into all these advanced CIA, DARPA type torture devices, remote neural monitoring, make me part of the Star Wars stuff from the 80s as a weapon to use against me, just to see what it does, like radiation, what it does to the body. Voice to skull to make me sound nuts. So if I talk about, I hear these voices, but then I can show the patents to the technology. It's like, and then Havana Syndrome. Thank God for that. At least we can show other people are going through it. And for those of us who are still alive, in some way, I'm also mixed because I'm thankful that they put it out there in the news. I'm thankful for the CIA and the FBI to put this out there. Our government didn't have to do that. They put it out there, and we got some hope. that maybe we can get some help. But they also try to, if you don't do enough, I have written to some senators, but again, remote neural monitoring means they could open my mail and do. Electronic harassment means messing with my, electronics and with your brain and your emotions. They still do that. So I'm just glad that there are other groups that do help us, that do. And I'm hoping with some lawyers like Mark Zaid, Zaid, or yeah, I think so, that sometime they'll not just help the government workers, but help us, regular people. Because for me, it's not been 2 years or 5, it's been 37, 38 years. And anyway, I'm not glad that it happens to other people, but I am glad that there's other people I can relate to with it. And I hope our government stops it. I'm not trying to get your money. I just want it to stop. And I will try not to embarrass people, but I just want it to stop. I think all TIs that are experimented on this way. It's one thing if they want to be rich, but if you're going through it, you just want it to stop and get your mind and your heart back, and not live in pain, and get your emotions back, and, be given a chance to not have your life stolen from you, to be able to pick up and live the next 10 or 15 years or 20 years by your own terms and not by a diminished capacity that the government and the people in your town decided, let's make them less than a human and treat him less than human, less than an animal. And hopefully he won't find out, or she won't find out. And well, now we have found out. So either the town's reputation will take a hit, and I mean horrible, for knowingly going along with this while chatting drain the swamp. Anyway, for other TIs watching this, yeah, I do have some hope, genuine hope, because of Havana Syndrome, TI stuff. And I hope the CIA and the FBI will recognize that we just need this. We're just fellow Americans. We get one life in this world. And our government decided to take our life and just, torture us with it, and didn't give us, it's like, we shouldn't be guinea pigs. We shouldn't be experimented on. So anyway, I hope that this will be out there so people can understand if they're going through the same thing. Then they can understand. And one thing they could do maybe is, these are little acupuncture things, and that can maybe help if you're having an area of, so. But hopefully there'll be some kind of EMF shielding that'll work better, or an RF jammer. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay? This is Alan. I'll talk to you. Bye. Okay. Talk to you later. Closed captioning brought to you by